Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Let's talk about gratitude. The idea came to my mind because Maria wrote to me last week after a group meditation session. She had an explosion of gratitude, and this was such an amazing experience. And after that, there was a full day. The whole experience was changed, and a lot of insights came. So, whether I could talk a bit about gratitude. Most of us go through our life spending a lot of the time being in resistance, not wanting things to be the way they are, focusing on that and creating a tension. If we are capable of letting that go and bringing the attention back to that awareness of what an amazing miracle is happening all the time, just to be alive, that miracle of connecting consciousness with a physical appearance. If we stop focusing on those little things that are annoying us, but letting them go and becoming aware of how magnificent this actually is, naturally there comes a sense of gratitude. We may then get a bit emotional about it when such an experience happens, but there is more than the emotions. The emotion comes, has a peak and goes. But if there is basically that awareness, what a magnificent possibility this is, no matter what is happening in our life, so many things may go wrong. There may be so many unpleasant experiences. There may be so much that we don't like, and we can totally get lost in that. But if we simply bring back the attention to that simple awareness of the possibility that is there, of the possibility to expand our experience with every moment, to that magnificence of simply existing, then naturally that sense of gratitude is there. It's not that this is a moral rule that somehow is prescribed by religion or tradition, that we should be grateful and not complain. It is simply making our life totally different. If we are not in the complaining mood and fixing the attention to all the little things that annoy us, but simply bring it back to that awareness of being alive, of having the possibility to experience what we are experiencing. The content of the experience is changing all the time. Sometimes it's more fun, sometimes it's less fun, but the very fact of experiencing is so amazing. Automatically, if we bring the attention back to that, there is an overwhelming sense of gratitude just to have this possibility. So gratitude is more than an emotion. There is an emotion attached to it, but like emotions, they come, they go. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there. But we can develop that basic sense of gratitude, of just having that opportunity from moment to moment, having, of course, often the temptation to completely lose it and get lost in whatever we are experiencing, but then having always the possibility to just bring the attention back home, be aware of that which makes the experience possible. Then there is that basic gratitude there, and the whole life is so much easier. Then even when out of habit the old resistance pops up, then we can see, there it is again, we observe it and we let it go. As long as we are going through our life half asleep, then we have all that resistance with us and are not aware that we are carrying that burden that creates tensions and pain and suffering all the time. But if you are alert and have that intent of keeping that alertness and be aware when that old habit comes of poor me, why is this happening to me? Not being happy about it. Then as it comes, we can see it, watch it that it's there for a moment and let it go. And have a sense of joyousness and lightness and beauty in our life that is simply there, unaffected by the circumstances, unaffected by whatever we are experiencing. Simply the fact that we are experiencing, that we are alive, that we are conscious, that we feel that connection with all there is, that love of existence is reason enough to have that sense of gratitude with us all the time. Okay, I have seen that you are here, Maria. If you want to add something, you can. Otherwise, I proceed.
Hari Om, Werner.
Hari Om.
Thank you. It's connected. I have a question connected to this. It's connected to gratitude and attachment.
Yeah.
I've got with me, I've been doing a lot of decluttering at home and in my office. And in my office, I had a box with lots of thank you cards from students, mostly. And because I had a lot of space there, now we've been asked to reduce things and I had a lot of space, so it stayed there for more than 20 years now. But now they are rationalizing the shelves and I thought, well, perhaps it's a good time to have a look at this again. And I still get very emotional when I open some of these cards because they came at a time where I was feeling very insecure. I was starting to teach. And most of these cards I received them when I was leaving a job and they are so sweet. And I even have still postcards from students. Those were the days where we didn't have internet. Yeah. And they would send postcards from when they went on holiday to Spain to practice their Spanish. writing back to me, and there is so much love in that connection. But I also, right now, I also feel that I need to learn to let go of those things, the objects, because it feels really good to be light in terms of objects around. And I also have the feeling that I would like to move to the countryside at some point, and I like to have very little luggage with me.
Yes.
It helps a lot.
Yes.
To keep moving forward, to keep growing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just in that predicament of what to do with the cards,
Yeah.
Yes. So if you could comment on that.
Right. I'm certainly not going to tell you keep the cards or throw them away.
I know.
But they are not important. It's nice if you can remember those moments of special connection. It's enriching your experience in the now. And sometimes that happens when you're opening a card. But you don't need to hang on to the physical stuff. It's not that somehow you are not doing anything nice to your students if you throw that away. You are not obliged to keep them cluttering up. So keep them or throw them away. What is important is it has helped you then, and when you are remembering now, it helps you now. That memory of that special moment, that special sense of connection with God or without God. It's not important. And basically, since you have said that if you want to move and you would like not to have a lot of stuff with you, then the tendency is rather to get rid of physical stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. It's that special, the memory of that special moment that counts, not the physical object. Sometimes the physical object can remind us, but then you can also remember without them. So do as you feel like, but as you feel it's good for you, it helps you, that you rather remove things that are not necessary in your life. You can include that or you cannot include that.
Yes, I feel that it's time to let that go. With pictures as well, printed pictures, I already let go loads of them some time back. And I still have a small bunch of them. But I feel that this summer I'm going to the ashram in Bali for about 2 weeks. And I feel it's probably a good time to take all this with me.
Yeah.
And when they do one of these fire ceremonies,
I see. Yeah.
do something a bit symbolic.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just the heart connection really is what is the precious thing.
Right. And it's not what you are. It's the story of Maria. And it's a story you can remember. It's not that you have to forget that story, and you can draw your lessons and you can get inspired remembering nice moments of connection, but still it's the story. All the pictures, all the cards, all the memories, it's the story. That which is remembering, that which makes the experience possible, that is what you are.
Thank you. Makes me feel lighter already.
Very good. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Mariano has written me Mariana from Argentina, asking, is love the driving force in consciousness? I wouldn't exactly put it like that. Consciousness, love, and there is energy, the prana. And it's the prana that is basically the driving force for expression. Consciousness is pure consciousness, whether there is an expression or no expression. But to manifest that energy is necessary. So if you want at all to use the term, the driving force in consciousness, you can say it is prana. Love is that awareness that all is connected, that there is no real separation. There is the multiplicity, and at the same time, everything is one. That is love. It is both static and dynamic, like consciousness is static and dynamic, and energy is the driving force that the dynamism is possible. But as I often have mentioned, they belong together. They are the three aspects: consciousness, love, and energy are the three aspects. How that mystery of existence is at all expressing itself. It's the first expression, the base. And out of that, all the creation emerges. Gross and subtle and causal and subtler. The base of all that, there is that basic expression that has three aspects. And of course, if we are focusing on one aspect, the others are also included. But just for our understanding, we can say there is the consciousness, and there is the love, and there is the energy. And that aspect which makes the dynamic appearance possible is the prana, the Shakti, the energy. So you mentioned the word Shakti, Mariano. So Shakti is more the energy. And the love is the awareness of all is connected. There is no separation, however much we create in our mind the sense of separation. Behind that, there is that awareness. Nothing is separate. All is one, and yet there is the multiplicity. Okay, I let that go. And I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello, Leora.
Hi. So I have a question in regards to what you said about emotions, and what you added now made the question clearer to me in the sense of discerning between between emotions. So for me, love is somehow included in the group of emotions. Now you said concentration, energy, love. I've heard it many times from you, and I understand it, and like I can sense it. And then Maria shared the emotion or sense of gratitude. And there's a list. So I wonder, for instance, if we take gratitude, I'm not going now into what I call negative emotions, but why gratitude is not listed together with three qualities that you count as the basic, or I'm not sure how to define it, gratitude or generosity. Is generosity an emotion? I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a result of other emotions which bring, like, direct the person into an act of generosity. So I think you understand what I'm asking.
Yes.
I hope.
Why are those noble emotions not included in the basic, when I say there are the three basic aspects? The three basic aspects of pure consciousness, pure energy, pure love, they are prior to duality. Out of that, the duality comes, the multiplicity comes. And with that, the emotions come. And there, for example, in order to experience generosity, you can be aware that all is connected, but at the same time, there is the experience simultaneously of a multiplicity, that you are there, others are there, and you can be generous with them. But love and consciousness and energy, they are prior to that. They are just something we cannot grasp, whereas generosity we can define and get an understanding. It's belonging already in the realm of the manifestation. And so is with gratitude. Prior to that, duality is there. There is no separation, but still the duality is there. As soon as there is a manifestation, there is duality, and there can be gratitude. That I'm feeling gratitude to that magnificence.
What was the last word? I'm feeling gratitude too.
I said magnificence, just to say a word. That enormous existence.
Yeah. So, like, there is generosity, and then there's stinginess, which is, of course, already the mess of the story and the other person and me and all lives, yeah, whatever. And love also, it's I would dare saying it's a sort of a mistake, the way we, at least I tend to, or have been tending to use, like, I love this person because they are doing something that will make me love them, and it's like, then it becomes complicated. Or they're not doing something, then I don't like them. Or
yeah,
I will be generous with someone who, the simplest thing is someone who has been generous with me, and then I want to, but this is not pure generosity. I mean, even though generosity doesn't stand together with the three magni, how you said it, but yeah,
magnificence.
but yeah, magnificence, but still, yeah,
the thing,
there is some work.
The thing with love is it's a weakness of our language that different things are called by the same name.
Yeah.
Like in the Indian language, you have rather two names for that. You have the name, you have the word sneha, and there you mean the emotion love. Or you have the word prema, and there you mean not the emotion love, but that pure awareness of being connected. Whereas in our Western language, we don't have that. I don't know in Hebrew, but
I have to look it up. I would
Yeah,
like to look it up
but-
in Hebrew.
but we talk about love, and we mean sometimes the emotion, and sometimes we mean another love, and then people resort to talk about human love and divine love, or things like that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's okay. It's very clear now for me and very moving.
And the
Touched my heart.
emotions cannot stay; they change all the time. So it's not that
Yeah.
we can be eventually in a perpetual emotional state. Emotions are just changing all the time. They are moving. That's their nature. But there is that awareness that we are connected, that basic generosity that is connected to that awareness of all is connected, without having an emotion about it. Just
Yeah.
the awareness of not needing to make barriers, because basically we are all one.
So the awareness like holds this concept of emotions somehow. The more I'm aware, the less I get involved with all the changes. That's how I feel when I'm aware. When I'm aware, when the awareness is really alive and I feel connected, then I'm less influenced for a longer time by all the changing emotions, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
The emotions will come, and some emotions
Yeah.
are very joyous and very agreeable, but then the opposite emotions are usually not pleasant. And then we can learn to accept both as they come,
Yeah.
but then not hang on to it, not
Yeah.
fight with it, see them as they come and let them go as they go.
No attachment. Yeah.
No attachment.
Okay, Werner, that was deep.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om. Would anybody else like to come in? You're welcome to do so. Emotions is always a subject that is a bit difficult for people to deal with. Somebody who is not trying to be aware is totally pushed around by the emotions. An emotion of affection comes and one runs and wants to grab. An emotion of hatred, of anger comes and boom, one explodes. And then when we turn spiritual, we are told we shouldn't have certain emotions, they are unspiritual. And then when these unspiritual emotions come, then we feel bad and fight them. But it's not really what we have to do. So it's exactly what Leora said at the end. It's the detachment that matters. That we see that emotions are objects of experience. They're not good or bad. They are part of the human experience, and that they are perfectly valid. They make that human experience a bit more juicy. As long as they are where they belong on their level, they come, they go, and they don't leave a trace. It's only when we get attached to the emotion positively or negative, when we fight an an emotion that we don't want, we actually also making that emotion stronger. When we hook into an emotion that we like and we want to keep it, then we feed our life energy into it and make it stronger. But then still, in spite of holding on to, the wave passes. And then we may fall into the opposite emotion, or be sad that the emotion is gone. Think I did something wrong. Emotions are not going to be permanent. There are not holy emotions that after that are permanently there. If we become a saint, then we have all these holy emotions that are there all the time. No. Emotions are waves, they are not going to be permanent, so we need not try to artificially always cultivate good emotions. Be conscious, be here, be now. The more you do that, the more you become aware that sense of separation is wrong. You feel that connection, and then you are not acting in destructive ways. On the relative level, as a human experience, the emotions come. Also negative emotions. They come, they are there a moment, you see them, you let them maybe there a moment, but then you let them go. There's no problem in that. A nice emotion comes, the emotion of affection. It's of course more attractive because it feels more expansive. But it's still an emotion. It's not that we have to cultivate it and try to make it bigger and then it's permanent. That which is prior to the emotion, that is permanent. And there is a joyousness in it that is not an emotion, that is not an excitement, that is not an ecstasy, that is a peaceful joyousness that is there, simply existing. If that is the base, if you are aware of that base, then we don't mind the emotions anymore. They come, they go. Nice emotions and not so nice emotions. They come, they go, let them come, let them go. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello, Andreas.
Hi. Yesterday I watched a documentary about a guy who is like going around the world by bicycle, swimming, and jogging. And he was like crossing Russia by bicycle in winter times.
Yeah.
And while I was watching it, I could a lot of times see, oh, if I would be in that situation, I would complain terribly about it, you know, like having total resistance. In like the film had about like, I don't know, 50 occasions where I would see that I would be complaining to myself and having complete resistance, and yeah, would be completely make myself miserable. And most of the times the guy just handled it fine, you know. It was like very, I could see how, I don't know, neurotic I am, or how much resistance I develop in my daily life. I mean, what to do about it?
What to do about it?
It's such a habit.
I mean, nobody compels you to go with a bicycle through Russia. he has that motivation, a goal he wants to achieve, and so he takes in his stride whatever comes. Now you don't have to do such a thing, but even in your normal daily life, there are still many occasions one can resist and start to complain. And if we do that habitually, then of course it may need a little work to get rid of that habit. What to do about it? Be alert. Even if you, before you start to complain, when something happens and that mood comes of it shouldn't be like this, and then that complaining mood starts, we can already catch it there and see, there I'm going again. And then, as with other emotions I have been talking about, instead of being fixed on what brought that mood about, instead of being fixed about the situation that you don't like, just bring the attention back to be aware of that mood of complaining that is rising, and observe that and see what it is doing to your experience there. And then if you start to see that and relax, then it will not even get that far that you feel the need to complain. But if you can't catch it and it happens and you catch yourself there, that you are already in the midst of complaining and it's not right and why me again and all that, then, well, as long as you don't remember, you cannot do anything. But when eventually the memory comes and see, okay, there, I'm doing it again. The old groove, the old habit, there you can do what I just said before. Instead of justifying yourself, but this time it was justified that I'm going for that. We can always feel justified of having the right to complain. According to external situations and the habitual judgment of people, it can also be right, but it doesn't matter whether it's justified or not. It matters that we are impoisoning our life by doing so. And if we want to stop to do so, it has nothing to do with external justice and justified or anything, but okay, I'm creating again something that is hurting in myself, and I learn not to do that anymore. And even if the situation has passed and you have complained and you have gone, but then the memory comes and the feeling comes back with it, with the memory. And only there you become aware, the old habit has again completely kicked in, and I did as usual, I reacted as usual, and I'm still keeping it in the head. And once you are aware of that, there you withdraw the attention from the situation and stop whether it's right or wrong, whether it's just or unjust, and simply see what you are doing to yourself, what is happening right now in your experience, how that mood, the poor me who needs to complain, how it's creating tensions that actually poison my experience now. And there I can learn to let go. And if we do that consequently, we will catch ourselves earlier and earlier. And eventually you catch the mood rising before it is strong enough to manifest. And there you can relax and detach. And then in the external situation, you may still decide that it is necessary that externally I say something. This is not right, that is not right. But without getting into that victim role, without getting overwhelmed by it.
Sometimes I watch what's happening,
Yeah.
but I can't stop it. Like, should I give an example?
Yeah.
Like yesterday in my lunch break, I was first going to the post office, and there was an old elderly lady in the queue, and it takes forever until she gets her business done. I could watch myself and say, okay, it's an elderly lady. She can't do anything about it. Afterwards, I went to the bakery and there were two people in front of me and they were both taking very, very long till they got their business done. You know, they were ordering like Brötchen, like little pans, and it took the clerk forever to prepare it. And I was seeing that it's perfectly okay the way they're behaving, but I still was getting like upset and angry inside. But I could watch it too, but I couldn't step aside. I could watch it a little bit and I wasn't getting so much into it, but like the the anger was still rising in a way. And
right. out of old habit, the anger was still rising, but you are on the good way of being aware of it, and then at least having attempted to let it go and relax. So it may not, maybe without that it would have overboarded and you would have started to make a scene. So at least you didn't make the situation worse by interfering. And if you continue watching like this, and you see, okay, I watch it, but in spite of that, I can't stop, it comes. But if you continue doing that, automatically you're getting more and more detached, and then it's the old habit gradually loses its power.
Is there something that I can do to help that by just maybe focusing on my physical reactions, on the energy of that?
Sure. Watch what it is doing. Not try to control the anger that is rising. Okay, then let it come, but see at the same time, what is it doing to you physically? And then not more focusing on the old lady that takes such a hell of a long time in front of you, but focus on your body sensation and your energy sensations and learn to relax. And then actually that moment is a very good spiritual exercise, and you're not wasting any time there.
The old lady, I still could handle that because it was very obvious. But when the people in the bakery started to order more and more stuff, and it took forever, like I couldn't keep myself from rolling the eyes. And and actually the anger, that, I mean, there's a pleasant part about the anger, the activation part, that is, so I didn't mind it so much, and I could laugh about myself because I was seeing what I was doing, but it was okay.
Anyhow, it's good, you see it, that's good, and from there we can start. As long as we don't see it, there is no hope of ever getting detached from it. But by seeing what's happening there, we see what's going on, and then there is also that sense, yes, but it's time to learn to relax that, and gradually it will happen.
It always happens when I have when like a lot of things of the same kind like that happen in a row, you know, then I get into that, like, poor little me, what's a strange day today, you know, that, like,
right. Sure, okay. Our capacity may be a bit tested if there is a row of similar events. So as good as you can, you accept them as confrontations, as possibilities to learn more about yourself, to become stronger, to become more expansive.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come? Welcome to come in. It's good, but recently I talked about it more, but it's good to repeat. It's good to remember what we are here for. Basically, if we go through our day-to-day life remembering, after all, I, as a being, as the self, I'm not incarnated. I'm prior to time and space, and yet I'm projecting an aspect of myself into this time-space continuum and experience a human existence. For what purpose? Because I am complete in myself. And yet, that awareness of that own divine essence expands. The essence doesn't change. You are what you are, but the experience of that expands. And there's no limit to it. And so projecting ourselves in this story, appearing in a human form, and then experiencing all the sweet and the bitter and the funny and the annoying of the human existence are continuous challenges, continuous possibilities to become more self-aware. That we learn, no matter what is happening, rather to be totally absorbed in the external situations, in the sensations, in the ideas, in the emotions, to be aware what is happening in myself. To be aware that there is that aspect that is not affected. And the more I'm capable of doing so, the more it's like this experience of that same essence becomes more powerful and more expansive. The more we remember that we are here for that, the easier it is then to deal with life situations without getting blown away, without getting overwhelmed. But even if it happens that we get blown away, that we get overwhelmed, that we lose it, then okay, got me again, so what? Collect yourself here now, you're fine. You connect with that immovable aspect. This is the challenge of this human experience, to learn to be aware of that aspect that is not affected, while leaving all these crazy situations that the human existence brings along. Some is funny, some is bitter, some is sad, some is hilarious, some is just horrifying. The more we can go through all that, keeping that awareness, but I'm prior to that, the more powerful this experience of the essence is expanding, it's becoming stronger. If we are aware that we are here for that, it's much easier to deal with the situations, with our personal situations, and also looking out and seeing what is happening in the world, not getting overwhelmed and depressive and hopeless, seeing what's going on, but accepting, okay, there are a lot of difficulties, there is a lot of unpleasant stuff happening. Still, not only for you, but for every being that is involved, there is that aspect that is not affected. And nobody goes through all that in vain. We are here for that, to learn, to grow, to outgrow. If we go through it consciously, alert, the more and more we are here now, the more there is a joyousness involved, no matter what the situation. The more we are half asleep, the more painful it is, and slow. Again, I'm asking, is there anyone who would like to say something? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
I try to deal with some unpleasant emotions in myself. I want to share about it. My close person asked me to lend her some money. Okay, I did it, and then asked her to be some maybe once or two or twice a week in connection with me, so that I don't worry about her, that she's okay. And she said me not pleasant things. Said me, no, okay, you can worry. Last time when I felt bad, you didn't support me, so didn't support me as I. So she said I didn't care about it. Because she wanted me to come to her to another town. I said I can't, but I can listen to you and I support you and I wish you to solve your difficulties. But it was enough. And now she said me these claims and I feel something very unpleasant because it is so, for me, it is at least illogical when I ask for help to someone and have some claims and some and don't want to be in touch, at least. Yes, it was not very pleasant, of course, for me. Now I listen to you and it it helps me a little to detach from this. Yeah.
Okay, shall I talk?
Yes, yes, please.
Of course, it's not pleasant if somebody comes then and asks for help, and then, but then when you want to help, that type of help is not appreciated, and another type the person thinks that you should give, but you know you can't at that moment, or you don't want. It's bringing then again that sense of it's not right, it's not just. And then deal with that first, with your own reactions. I don't mean that you should let the other person do with you whatever she likes. If you say that's enough and no further, then you have the right to say no in a situation. And if there are complaints from their side, which you feel they are not justified, then you can tell them to stop complaining like this. You don't want to listen, or you just learn not to make yourself miserable. Holding on to the idea, it's totally unjustified, that those accusations, and then we can make it bigger and bigger, and it's becoming more unpleasant. It's not a pleasant experience anyhow, but we don't have to make it worse. So you do again the same. You see how the experience is affecting you. Instead of keeping the mind turning around the situation and around the situation and maintaining the same emotional reactions, you turn the attention back and see the emotional reaction and see what it is doing to your experience right now, and start to let go and relax. Still, you can be firm sometimes when you need, and say, no, I'm not going into that. I'm not letting myself be pushed into that. You have perfectly the right to make your boundaries what they can do with you. But the difficulty, that which is heavy, the burden that we are carrying, is not actually the external situation, but how we are reacting to it. And there you can work on it. That you, instead of thinking, no, she should now be different, no, she shouldn't act like this, accept, okay, I don't think it's right, but she acts like this. But I don't have to make myself miserable because of that. Then I see my reactions and I see what they are doing energetically, physically, and I learn to relax. And when I start to relax, it's like the burden is also starting to drop.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Werner. When I listen to you, I feel it that it let's go little by little. So that
Little
it's
by
not
little.
so,
Yeah.
not so serious. Yes.
That's it. And we cannot make such a situation perfect. It's not that you have to wreck your brain and think, what can I do that the situation becomes perfect? The best thing you can do is that you see how the tension is building up in you, how I'm putting the burdens on my shoulder and it's getting heavier and heavier, and then let that go. And then the situation already looks different. But that doesn't mean that after that externally it's going to be perfect. It may not be perfect. But then we learn to deal with an imperfect situation in such a way that we are not always depressed by it and worried by it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Wish you well.
Yes. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there somebody else who would like to come?
Werner, may I ask another question?
Sure, sure.
It regards to what you said last satsang, maybe last satsang, if I don't mistake. You said about meditation, about the way which is more natural to someone. And I thought about this. I think a lot about meditations, what is more natural and what it is. It is being in here and now. And I know that some things help me to feel myself very good and pleasure and joy. For example, when I look at sky and the trees and at nature, it helps me to let go some thoughts, heavy thoughts.
Yes.
Yes, and it gives me connection with these divinities. I understand. From the other side, when I sit and try to consciously breath, I feel that a lot of stuff comes up in me. All these emotions and worries and fears and a lot of things. And I think what is what is the right way in meditation. Sometimes I feel joy. Sometimes I feel this like this is a work. When I sit and breathe, I can't immediately connect with my inner source. Sometimes I feel something beautiful, but it's not often. And from the other side, I feel that my body becomes more relaxed when I than it was before, when I couldn't sit at least an hour. Now I can sit some hours, but I don't feel some effect immediately. I see that it comes in some, I don't know, in some time, and some maybe years, that something happens. It doesn't come quickly. But when I look at the sky, some effect comes immediately, that I disappear in this, and I feel very pleasant. And I don't know, I have this question in my mind. My breathing, when I breathe, something in me understands that this is necessary for me. I even I don't know how to explain. So I don't feel immediately effect of it, but every morning something touches me that I should see it. I want to do it, but really I don't understand why I do it, and I don't feel so good. I feel myself better than before after this meditation, but not so immediately effect. I don't know if I explained, if I could explain what I think.
Sure, you have explained. And of course, as long as we are in the process, that doesn't mean every time we are sitting down, it feels good to meditate. Often is exactly what you are describing. You sit down, you try to keep quiet, and then all kinds of stuff comes up. And it's you are confronting that, and then of course you don't feel that there is something not so easy. You can feel that something goes deeper. Whereas when you get up from your meditation, you still feel, it does feel different. Something has happened, even if you are not aware in the meditation. Now, to sit and do your meditation and to walk in the nature and look at the sky and the plants, this is not a contradiction. You can very well do both. But because it feels better to walk in the nature, I wouldn't just give up the meditation, because it's a very, even if it's often unpleasant, it's a very efficient way to become aware of inner mechanisms. And especially if unpleasant stuff comes up, then we become aware they are there, we become aware how they are functioning, and we become aware how we can learn to let it go. So you don't have to push yourself to meditate more and more and more and more, but do your meditation, and what you have been doing for quite some time, and sometimes it feels better and sometimes less good. Don't every time when it doesn't feel so good question whether it's the right thing to do. You still do it at that time, and sometimes it doesn't feel so pleasant, so never mind. You just sit it through, and maybe during the same sitting already the mood changes again, and maybe so only when you get up, you feel, in spite of not having felt well about it, still something good must have happened, because when you get up, you feel, there is a certain lightness there that has not been there before. Don't expect that you can now meditate and simply enjoy your time meditating all the time. If a nice, blissful experience comes, wonderful, then it's encouraging you. But that doesn't mean when that is not happening, something is wrong with your meditation. Be as quiet as you can, be as relaxed as you can, be as observative as you can. And then when the stuff comes that disturbs that peacefulness, you are very aware of it. And then even when it's there, you get that sense, yes, but there is something prior to that that is not affected. And you can learn more and more to redirect the attention back to that in your meditation, and then eventually also out of your meditation. Don't get disheartened that it's not just like when you are walking through the forest and looking in the sky and at the trees, which you just like. If you would do that now, day after day, like a duty, then it also there would start to come up stuff. And then the experience of that also would start to get spoiled. So do both. Do your meditation without pushing for more and more and more meditation. Just do your meditation and then keep that meditative attitude as good as you can. And by all means, go in nature. And if that helps you to relax, relax in nature, and don't think, oh, this is better, I'm doing something wrong in meditation. It's not so easy. when you sit quiet without moving and old stuff is coming up, to be capable of relaxing in the same way. But we are learning. For that, meditation is very good. It gives the insight because we're learning more and more how the processes that prevent us from being in the relaxed state, how they are working. And when we see how they are working, we can start to let them go, to relax them.
Okay, yes. And I see that some methods give pleasant emotions. I mean, some meditations, for example, like mantra, I used it sometimes. So it gives some pleasant emotions when I sing mantra that I like, that I love to sing, to repeat. Or if I read that looking at the skies, it can be meditation too, and just see and look at it. But but I don't know. I don't do it for a long time, these practices. And when I sit and look at in the sky or something, trees, one moment I want to close my eyes, go inside, and, and then another work starts.
Yes.
Okay, I see that.
And of course, certain things may give you the sense of pleasure, like when you start to sing mantra. And you can very well have your basic meditation, and then in between, when it's getting too hard, spend a moment chanting your mantra. Nothing wrong with that. It gives you a moment of break, and it helps you to relax. But I can tell you, if you would start to think, because mantra is pleasant, that you do now mantra all the time, that pleasant, the pleasure of it also would disappear, and the same inner mechanism would come and disturb. No matter what you're picking up and you pull it through, that you repeat it again and again, if it goes deeper, it will dig into the subconscious and stuff will come up and disturb the pleasure of it. So you can very well keep your basic meditation as you do it. And when it's too much in between, you get a bit relaxation by chanting a mantra. And then you come back to your meditation as it is.
Okay, yes, I see. Yes, after some chanting mantra or something else, then it comes the wish to keep silence, to stop doing it.
Right.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in?
Can I ask a question that is connected to that?
Sure.
I like meditation, but sometimes I like very much the moments in the morning when I start waking up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's very easy to let go in a way, to open up. I mean, the danger is that I fall asleep again, but it's like it feels like that the usual me, I can let go a little bit more than during my meditation. Can you say something about that?
Yes, because when you wake up, it's like you just start to reassemble Andreas. Before, in your sleep, Andreas was absent. And then when that is not yet so solid, it's easier to let all the concerns and the worries that belong to that role, it's easier to let them go. So it's good waking up and being consciously conscious for some time, just quiet. And then you start your daily life, your daily routine. It's good if we can start our day with practice with meditation, but if somehow, for some reason, that is not possible, we can meditate anytime.
No, I always meditate in the morning, and it's, I mean, maybe connected to that, it is, yeah, I open, I mean, even like listening to you, I do less and less technique and just like opening up more and more and do more relaxation.
Yeah.
But sometimes you say you should have a point where you focus, and this focusing on a point is for me, feels for me like having a certain technique. And as soon as I start to do any kind of technique, the Andreas comes in much more. There's not so much opening up. There's some sense of trying to achieve something, and it's not, I don't open up so easy then anymore.
Okay, if that doesn't somehow resonate with you, focusing on a certain point, then don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, the best thing is just like to open, I mean, to open up and forget then what's happened. I mean, I might not be very so much focused then, but the thing is that I realize there's lots of energy patterns in my body that I'm still holding on when I'm doing some kind of technique. And if I'm opening up, I'm getting more aware of these like energy, these restrictions where like even in my physical posture I'm holding, and I can let them go much easier when my mind isn't busy with some kind of technique.
Okay, fine. As long as you keep the alertness there. The techniques, after all, they are just crutches to help to bring the awareness back to the now. If you can rather better stay in that present without using a particular technique, then fine, great.
More or less.
More or less, of course, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, the background mumbling of my mind is almost always there. It's just like getting louder or lesser.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mario.
Mario.
I've seen another camera was open a moment. I don't know whether that was intentional. Is there anybody who would like to come in? Ah, yes. Hello. Veronique.
Hello. Yes, hello, Werner.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's very rare that I am free at noon on Saturday, so it's very nice to join you. So, and it would be nice as well to speak, to talk a little bit with you. I've been in a strange state for the past weeks. For the past couple of years, I was in a very quiet state already, very peaceful, very quiet, even though life wouldn't be always very joyful or happy. You know, it didn't matter much. It was, I had always this little sparkle of joy inside, and I was very, very quiet.
Yeah.
So I thought I was pretty much off the hook, you know, trying to be what I am not and trying to have what I don't have. And for the past weeks, it's changed. And it's like I lost this little inner grounding in joy, you know. It just like it sort of disappeared. What remains is I am very quiet, and things don't stick. Nothing sticks anymore. Actually, things don't stick for a long time now. But what changed in these past weeks is this not sticking became a bit awful. Actually, you know, it's just like I have a flat line of interest about everything, absolutely every single thing. And this includes myself, you know, when I've got, you know, mind agitated or a bad reaction or a judgment coming, you know, it just, I feel still bored with myself, with everything pretty much, you know. It's very close from a depressive state, except I know it's not a depression, you know. I mean, I'm still, my awareness is there. It's just like everything is completely, I'm bored. Life itself bores me already.
Yes.
And yeah.
But it doesn't pull you into a state of self-pity, does it?
No.
No.
Even this doesn't interest me already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and I have had again, excuse me.
It's not that you're basically suffering from it. You just feel a bit bored.
Yeah, no, it's not pleasant at all, and it's pretty sad actually. But it's just like it's not active, you know. There is not energy in this. There is no energy. It feels like there is no energy in nothing anymore, really. And I'm really wondering, what am I doing here, really?
Yeah.
And it doesn't come of I don't know what to do, really. I don't know what to be. I don't know what to do with myself. You know, there is this temptation of melting and drawing. You know, if there is any impulse of movement, it would be towards this. You know, like becoming even quieter and drowning or melting. Except I cannot. You know, I'm just like a cork. You know, I cannot do anything, and I float in a very small space because there is no interest. So. And that's it. It's a bit abominable, actually. It's I don't see how I could remain in this state. Really, it's what's the purpose of living here?
It won't stay forever. Don't worry.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but you can help by going out in nature, walk. Even if you don't feel that you have much inspiration to do so, still go.
Yeah, I live in nature, you know. I sleep outside on a roof every night. You know, I am in the middle of the trees and the stars, and I feel all of they are connected to me. It feels like the stars and the sky and the trees are connected to me, and I am not the one being connecting. I am here. I see the beauty. I feel the breathing of all, and I'm just not part of it somehow anymore.
But you can open up to that again. At least you can attempt. Even if you don't, even if you, at least you can attempt, you can try.
Yes.
Even if you don't feel too much interest in doing so, then give you a little push to do so.
To do what?
To open up, to connect. You feel that the trees, actually, the stars, the sky, everything is connecting you, but you are not connecting. So connect with them again. And by connecting with them, you connect again more with yourself, because your self is not boring. It's the psyche and the reactions of the psyche that are boring. But you yourself, your being is full of creativity and beauty and joyousness. And somehow you had more of an access to that, and right now it seems that the access has a bit disappeared, but it's temporary. It will come back. But you can help it by consciously doing these little things, like you are in nature, so, and you feel disconnected, but you give yourself a little push to reopen your heart to the beauty, to the trees, to the birds, to the sky, to the clouds, to the stars, that it starts to touch you more. And then you automatically also will open gradually more to yourself, to that aspect of you that is not bored ever, that is not boring ever, because it's the source of what is, and it's full of the potential of beauty and joyousness and creativity.
And is it possible to feel this all the time? Because really, like, it's very clear that I am on my own with my psyche at the point, at the moment, and it's extremely boring. I mean, not interesting at all. It feels like my beingness in me would go somewhere to have a nap. You know, it's just like I am. It's not there anymore. It's not there, and then. On the other hand, it's sort of awakened. I don't lose awareness of what is going on inside and outside as well.
Right.
It's just like I am only my psyche at the moment, something like this, you know?
Yeah, that awareness is there and you don't lose it, but you have lost contact with that which is prior. You have, I mean, you cannot lose contact. Without that, there would be no experience. And you said it's not there, it's gone, but it cannot go anywhere. Without that, you couldn't be sitting here and talking to me. It is that which makes all this possible. Simply your conscious access somehow has gotten a bit lost, but be sure this is temporary. So don't worry too much about it. Simply you can consciously contribute to sort of get through it by consciously opening up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I see now listening to you is even though I feel bored with me, you know, it's just like feeling bored. It's still giving me too much importance, you know. I mean, I can. It's already too much. I mean, in order to open, as soon as you said you reopen your heart to nature, you know, I would do it. And what I saw was what was missing is, you know, it's this occupancy of boredom is too. There is too much territory there.
It's still holding on to the me and an emotion of the me. Me, I, the person, am not more getting enough kicks in my life, so I'm getting bored. And then we can get into a habitual mood like this and stick in it. So it's good that you shake yourself out of it.
Yes, yeah,
yes.
Probably, yeah.
Doesn't mean that you have to start to get attached again, but you can playfully open up and connect, and then the boredom also disappears. And then if the boredom comes again, then for some moment, for times, you don't have to stick in it, but sometimes you let it be there, the emotion bored, okay, and feel bored consciously, full-heartedly feel bored and see what really is happening physically, energetically, what is happening in that emotion. And there, when you become really aware what it is, then suddenly it doesn't stick anymore. It's there for some time, but it's those emotions, when you watch them, they start to scurry away.
Yeah, probably I need to put some energy somewhere at this point.
Yeah.
I feel so passive. I feel so totally passive at the moment.
Right, and boredom, certain emotions, they are more with an abundance of energy, like anger is built of a surge of energy, whereas more depressive emotions, it's the feeling of a lack of energy. And so you can consciously bring a bit energy into the game. That you, even if you don't feel inspired to do so, that you take the trouble to really, like what I just said now, watch the emotion, boredom in such a way at times, and then go out and push yourself to reopen your heart, to connect with the trees, to connect with the nature, to connect in that sense with another aspect of yourself that has gotten a bit neglected recently. Okay?
Yes, sir. I was not able to come to Tiru last winter, but I will come next winter. So I'm looking forward already.
Anytime, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Werner. See you. Ciao.
You're welcome. Ciao. Hari Om. Hari Om. That can happen in our spiritual journey. Sometimes we have the feeling, really, we're getting somewhere. Something is happening. It's expanding, it's getting more profound. And then there may be a period where the opposite seems to happen. Just don't think, if that happens, that we did something wrong. So I messed it up. It just happens like this. We don't need too much to dig, trying to figure out reasons why it happened. Okay, it's there, but we can learn to deal with it. That also is a challenge that helps us to go deeper. And then this kind of lack of energy periods, these negative moments, they also pass and we become aware. Also that was not for nothing. Also that helped us to expand, even if in the midst of it we were not conscious that it did. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.